success.
A 1041 success. Great.
Yeah.
Wow, that's great.
I just might have to try that yet.
Now we got to all try it.
How much did they get? I just came in.
I think
A little over 70,000.
Great.
Mm-hmm.
that'll get you by for a year.
That's a start.
No, you can do that every year then, too.
Correct.
Yeah.
Well, that's what they say anyway.
Right, right.
How long does it take them to get it back?
8 weeks.
Wow.
Yeah, Fred got his got a letter back on his after 6 weeks or so.
Fred.
Hankinson.
Okay. And what did the letter say?
They asked for some more information and a form to fill out.
Okay, now she put a cover letter on there that came from Ann Sims, which I have a copy of, that may or may not have something to do with it. She also sent it to the Pennsylvania address, same one we send bonds to, and that may have had something to do with it. I sent mine to Cincinnati, and that doesn't seem to have been the right place.
This is Ben Salem.
Yeah, Ben Salem.
Could you post that stuff for us, please?
I could do that.
Post the letter and the address and everything. Was that $70,000 for how long a period of time?
Well, that was his whole life. He didn't pay a lot of taxes in. He got $300 and some in interest.
Huh. Wow. Do we have a whole file on the 1040 on that thing?
I don't think we do, no.
You're saying it was paid out of the Ben Salem office?
I don't know where it was paid out of. That's what it was, where it was mailed to. At least the cover letter was addressed to them.
A friend of mine works in that office. She's been there 26 years.
That's right. You said that last time, yeah.
I'll check on that.
Okay, I'll create a folder for it. It's it'll be number 87.
Yay, Doug. We can always count on you, can't we?
Yeah.
Actually, I take that back. I went to Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
Oh, I don't know.
IRS Service Center, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
I know where it is, but I don't know anybody there.
Yeah.
I lived in Philadelphia.
And it just, since I recently came to my attention that I have mistakenly filed Form 1040 or 1040-NR returns for the subject year and all prior years, and the Social Security Administration nor the IRS informed me that the above referenced account was a trust account. The SSA made me the trustee for the account, that a U.S. citizen was not a state or sovereign citizen, nor that I, as trustee, should have been filing IRS Form 1041 for the trust account. And it says, I'm not British Commonwealth, all that, and blah, 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 blah. And so I'll send that to Lewis, and he can post it if he likes. She's supposed to be faxing me a copy of the 1041 she actually filed.
Right.
So I'll sanitize that and send that along as well.
Send it to Doug since he wants to put up a file. Poor Lewis needs a break.
Okay, I'll send it to Doug.
What Doug does, too. He's working about as hard as I am, if not harder.
Hey, I'm working hard, too.
Yeah, no kidding.
Oh, poor Ed.
Hello, this is Paula.
Hi, Paula.
Hi, Paula.
Welcome
And
to
what
the
is the mute number?
6 is.
Thank you.
Just do 6.
Is it pound 6?
No, just 6.
Just 6, okay.
Yeah, this is the Freedom News Conference call every Thursday, 9 p.m. I know we're going to have a lot of people on the call tonight, and we'll see how the system holds up here.
Yeah, now, did you reserve this one so we can
No.
get everybody in?
No, I didn't. If you reserve it, it limits it. When you don't reserve it, it goes up to as high as 86, I guess.
96.
96, yeah.
Oh, did I read it backwards again?
Well, it's just, you can only reserve it for in like 30, I think.
Did you stop taking your dyslexia medicine again, Lois?
I probably did. But I see this picture of your Ponderosa there, Ed.
Oh, you like that?
Uh-huh.
I figured, turnabout was fair play.
I'll have to find one of mine now.
There you go.
One where I'm sitting, that is.
I understand.
Well, the agenda for the call tonight is we'll go through some administrative stuff first, and then topics will start off with Penny first, so she can not have to stay on the phone so long tonight. And then we'll talk about the exemption accounting worksheet that I put up there, just a 2-minute explanation. Then we'll hopefully have Wade on the phone and go through acceptance and liquidation, course 5, or whatever else he wants to cover. And then we'll mention the docket sheet by Jack Smith, that latest tape from entitled Ben. And then we'll cover whatever Lewis wants to cover about the UCC or what not to eat when you go out to eat.
Don't eat anything that has toxins in it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Drano. You got to stay away from Drano.
That's what the problem is.
Yeah.
Told him he should just turn those little shrimps over and read, their date of manufacture and where they were made.
Right. Expiration date's over.
Right.
Okay, well, I'll start the administrative stuff here. First of all, the calls that Lewis and I are getting, and we want to have those documented, so when you call, be prepared to tape them or transcribe them as we're talking or something, because what we want to do is build up a reservoir of the answers that we're giving everybody, and then when you have those transcribed, go ahead and post them on the group.
And I just put a file up in the miscellaneous folder about 10 minutes ago on how to do it onto your computer.
Oh, great.
List the equipment that I have on mine and the software I'm running and everything you need to know to be able to record directly onto the computer from your phone line.
Okay, perfect. All right. And then, Lewis, why don't you mention your new call times now?
Monday, Wednesday, Friday by appointment only.
Okay, gotcha. And the appointments by email.
Send me an email to make an appointment, please. I'm just getting buried in calls.
Yeah, got it.
I know the feeling.
And then mine, I think I'm going to just temporarily restrict mine to Monday, Wednesday, and Sunday, 7 to 10 p.m. 7 p.m. to 10 p.m., that is. Not 7 a.m.
Oh, shucks.
That's right. Wait till I get out of this job, then I can say from 7 a.m. All right. Another thing, I wanted everybody to try to create their own Yahoo group and post your documents that you edit on your computer to your individual Yahoo groups. And then if you want us to review them, then invite Lewis and me to your group. It'll be a private group just for you and for us to review your stuff. Plus, it's a very good way to back up your documents, because one lady lost her computer, and if she hadn't have done that, she would have lost all of her documents. So it's easy to create a Yahoo group. Just go through the prompts. There's a button that says create a group. So just follow through and do that.
While we're on administrative stuff in Yahoo groups, I took down 2 megabytes worth of messages yesterday that were primarily extraneous trash.
Great.
But one thing I would like everybody to stop doing is attaching little snippets to the end of their emails when they send them in to be posted as messages. It's just chewing up a horrendous amount of server space.
Mm-hmm.
What's a snippet, Lewis?
Well, various people have little .gifs or
signatures
or
Okay.
little pictures, whatever, that they're attaching at the tail end of their email, and those things are chewing up 20 and 30 kilobytes of space every message, and we're up against the limit, and I really don't want to take down messages unnecessarily, but I knocked one out yesterday that was 170 kilobytes, and it was just pictures.
Yeah.
Some of them have backgrounds that takes up a lot of space.
Yeah, it was just those little, one of them was a blinking heart, and one of them was a little mailbox symbol, and it's just stuff that if you would avoid putting that in there, it'll save us a lot of grief.
Mm-hmm.
Is this Freedom News Group?
Yes, this is Freedom News conference call.
All right.
Yep.
Appreciate it.
Yep.
Just doing administrative stuff at the moment.
Yep.
Welcome aboard.
And 6 does a mute, so that you can eliminate the background noise, because a lot of people are trying to tape this. I'm also taping it, and I'll digitize it and get,
My tape running.
and I'll get it up. I don't know if I'll get it up tonight or not. I'll be gone this weekend. So.
Doug?
Yes.
Just to make sure that person that just asked, he said this is Freedom News Group, and this is Freedom News Bank. So he may be looking for the other group that you got there.
Right. No, the the Tom Shaw for Dale call is on Thursdays, an hour ahead of this one, and that's the Freedom News group. Of course, I did create both the groups, but that group is more interested and focused toward using attorneys and using the law. This group, Freedom News Bank, is more towards closure and settlement and discharge, and that's what we're focusing on.
Maybe we should consider changing the name a little bit. But
a lot of those free emails have a lot of icons that they put in there.
Yeah, we've got a lot of static right now. Somebody's probably holding a phone next to a, or it's a cell phone. We don't know, but we're getting some static right now. So do a 6 to mute out, please. Another thing about best practices as far as listening to the audio tapes on freedomnews.com, the links that I have on Freedom News Bank, of course, link you to the website that I have, which is freedomnews.com. That's where I've downloaded all the MP3s. Best practices are to actually save the MP3 to your own hard drive and then listen to it offline instead of doing streaming directly from RovenNet's servers, where my Freedom News site is. It'll cut down on the traffic, the bandwidth that I'm utilizing, and I think it'll help you to be able to listen to this stuff without being interrupted by the Internet.
You should still tell your service provider to block it so that they can't stream.
Yes. Yeah, I'll do that. Another thing I ran across today, I was looking at tigerdirect.com. This is a free plug for them. Anyway, there was something in there about a computer for $219 without the monitor, and it has Windows on it. It's a Windows alternative. And there's a website called Windows.com that you might be interested in checking out because the operating system's like $39.95, and the Windows Office, the counterpart to Microsoft Office, is like $39.95. So if you're having trouble in trying to, read our documents and stuff, go ahead and maybe just invest in Windows Office, and then you'll be able to view our Word documents. If you're having trouble.
Spelled like a window with an L?
L as in Larry.
And is D-O-W-S like a window?
Windows, yeah, just like Windows, except starts with a L. Windows.com. And then I also want to mention people that can write to Candy's son and Don as well. I don't know if we have Don's address. Maybe. Okay, we should probably put that up on the group.
I can put it up in a message. If you want an update on that, I spoke to Jay Hodges last night.
Okay.
Don's going to be in prison or in jail probably for at least 2 more months before he ever gets his first hearing. And all of the attorneys that they have appointed for him so far are relatives to the judge and the prosecuting attorney who are trying to steal the property that he and the other guy bought. It is a real crooked mess.
Wow.
So I'm hoping to pose some questions to Wade about it tonight while he's home, since I got some additional info last night. Mm-hmm. But keep him in your prayers. He's holding up. He's doing strong. He's staying strong. But pray for him and think about him and think good thoughts. And hopefully he'll soon be out.
All right. Thanks for that update. Well, is Penny on the line? Because I want to.
Yes, I am.
Okay, Penny, great. Let's let you have the floor here and cover the equity recovery stuff.
Okay.
All right.
Well, I'm going to give kind of a sparse update just because of the fact that they've asked me not to give a lot of details. We have got a lot of information that's coming down the pike, but they're asking me not to give out a whole bunch of details until they've got it together better, but we've got some really great things happening, so I'm excited about that. So I'm going to give you kind of a general overall picture of what we're looking at. Just to back up again, what we're involved with is we are recovering equity that was due to us, and we're doing it through what we consider is damages that we're collecting on. And so then we're taking the equity and we're calling them equity credits. And we're just to give you a background, what we've been doing is we had an adhesion contract that we were giving to the banks that they agreed basically that they had committed a tort against us, a damage of this nature. And then we were taking these contracts to different banks to see if there was a potential of monetizing them. There is a great potential of monetizing them. However, all the terms that the banks put along with it, or they weren't especially great for what our goals were, or the second thing was that in order for us to do that, then we would possibly have to give up some of our rights to our contract and have to pool them. And whenever you do that, then you could get into the aspect of possibly becoming in a position where you're selling securities and things of that nature. So we've had a lot of things that we've had to review just to make sure that we're not getting into a position where we're hurting ourselves. Well, we did have a couple of ladies that thought that they could privately buy these contracts, and at this point we've not heard anything. They were going to give us a 2-week notice 2 weeks ago, and we haven't heard anything, so we're not really holding our breath that that's going to happen, although we are still looking at all the options that we can use these contracts. But what we've done is we have stopped using the contracts. We're no longer providing the contracts at the workshop, or you're not purchasing that. And what we provide is an education at this point. However, what we're giving now as a service is we're showing you exactly what the total of value of your equity is, and then you will receive a certificate that tells you exactly what the value of your equity is. And some people are really blown away with how much money they don't have in the pocket that has ended up in the banker's pocket. Okay, from there, now I'll tell you what we're looking at. We have, as chance would have it, on our advisory council, we actually didn't realize we had an ace up our sleeve, and the gentleman himself didn't know about it, but we came to realize that we wanted to be able to use these contracts in order to create a line of credit. And then the more we thought about it, we thought, well, then maybe we could start looking at a type of bartering system. And then as we thought about that more, then he realized that that's, he hadn't thought of that as a way of doing this, but this gentleman had owned a bartering business of his own in the past 10 years, and he had made some great, wonderful connections to some major bartering businesses all around the world. So in the last week, things have just come together, and it looks like this idea of using our equity credits to be able to tap into a large bartering company, which we are setting up agreements with right now, is becoming a reality. And I'm just going to read real quick what is posted on UFC.ca. Now, this is a privilege that, I'm giving you some information that really the people that have purchased the Banking is Fraud CD, you're privy to this, and for those that haven't, then this is really what we're trying to do is prompt you to go ahead and purchase that so that you can have the password to get into the private areas of this website so that you can know what's going on. And that also helps promote promote them so that they have funds to be able to carry on with this work. I think this is really wonderful what they're trying to do, and let me read this, and this will kind of explain what their goals are here. The heading is Equity Recovery Spending Power Just Got Closer. Details still need to be worked out, and systems must be established and implemented, but we have reached an agreement in principle with an online business. The agreement, when fully implemented, will make it possible for those participating in our program to use their equity to obtain a large variety of goods and services from a number of online suppliers. It will also be possible for you to list and sell your own products or services. This is not just a way for participants to recover equity of which they have been cheated, said borrower's advocate Larry Whaley, Larry Whaley is a partner with Tim Madden, who has created this contract. It is also a major step towards the achievement of our mission of replacing the current financial system with one that is just and equitable. Tim Madden adds, when an old system comes to the end of its usefulness, people begin to see that it no longer serves the needs of the majority, and a new system begins to emerge. Throughout history, new systems have existed alongside the ones they were replacing. Tribes existed as feudalism developed. Feudalism was not replaced in a single day, nor by a single act, but rather over a period that saw two systems functioning at the same time. We may be seeing the same happening today with the recognition that the old financial system is unjust. The development of a new online system that will allow the recovery of what has been unjustly taken and the implementation of a system that does not permit the kind of fraud and exploitation our old financial system is built on may be a historical event. And so timelines, requirements, limits, and processes for the new system will be posted in the coming weeks. So really what I see here is the beginning of we're creating a new monetary system through this bartering type mentality. And the system is, and I'm going to tell you a few statistics here, but it's already in place. And really what we're doing is we're creating the possibility of having a system up and running so that if there is a financial collapse with the banking system as we know it, we already have a system in place that we're tapped into. And let's see, just to give you some ideas, and I want to give you a website that you might want to take a look at to give you an idea of what we're talking about. If you want to check out www.bartercard.com, that's BARTERCARD.com, and also www.bartercardusa.info, and that's bartercardusa.info. That's going to give you an idea of a barter system. Now, this business has been in business.
Can you repeat that again?
The last one you say?
Yes.
That's BarterCard, BARTERCARDUSA, as in our United States of America, USA.info.
INFO, okay.
Like info.
Okay.
Information, INFO. Just to give you an idea, over the past 10 years, this barter card has created over $3 trillion in U.S. dollars in volume, and they have about 42,000 members right now, and that is with people that participate with purchases and also sell their goods and services. So that amounts to about $150 million a year in annual revenue. Now, what they're excited about, because this gentleman is hooked up with them, and that's just one barter company that's doing quite well right now, what they're excited about is if we have our equity credits and we come in with that system, it's like having a lot of millionaires drop in on a store because our equity credits will be worth a lot of money to these businesses. Now, what they're saying here as far as us developing this is, you know, in the past we were wanting to be able to get all of our equity converted into cash, and that looks like that's going to be a tough road to go, although it's not being thrown out. But it just means that it looks like we're having to look for alternatives. And if, for example, you have a contract that's worth $1 million in equity credit, and you were able, for the first year that this got going, if you were able to increase your spending ability from like $50,000 to $100,000 per year, in addition to your current conventional dollar spending, then you have to understand that we really have accomplished something that's very worthwhile, because that will have been equity that was recovered that you had to be able to spend that didn't cost you a dime. Now, what we're looking at, they had to look at several different things, too, with the bartering system, because they found the pitfalls of the bartering system as well with the IRS and other entities trying to set it down. And what they've realized is that if they set it up as a consignment-type business, then they were able to keep the business running in a way that the IRS was happy and all that. So in some form, it'll be in the form of a consignment shop. Now, what does this do if you have this set up in this way? Well, what they're finding that in this economy that they set up in this manner, they find that they're able to operate in the premise of giving out interest-free loans, and also we are using interest-free currency, and it creates the ability for simple records of exchange that are made. And what that means is that, you know, if you create that system, then you're going to find out that your need for credit almost disappears altogether. And also what this system does is when it says the systematic production and sale of goods and or services for real value as recorded by a barter intermediator to enable their exchange for goods and or services of equal value eliminates the inflationary aspect of the non-productive and otherwise parasitical interest component. So in other words, this system eliminates inflation. And then what they're saying is with us dropping in on their system and increasing the business, what their problem has been is the consumers. And then all of a sudden here is all of us coming in with our equity credits. This system is just, they're just happy as they can be to have us be a part of it. Now, when you take a look at what's already in place, these systems, and I'm not saying that we're going to completely be connected with the barter card. We're going to be creating our own system, but what I am saying is we'll be able to tap into all the different barter. All of us are coming together in one system so that we can all use everybody's system. What's happening here is really, like Tim said, is historical, because all the barter card systems see the vision of us creating a whole new system, so we can tap into other barter card systems, and that's what we're creating right now. So the time frame of what we're looking at, I see, is probably going to be a good 5 or 6 months before we really get it going, because we already have the software and all that in place, but as you can imagine, to put all the operators in place, because you have to go through, we have to set up yellow pages of all the different things that can be purchased with equity credits, etc. But it's a pretty good undertaking. But if you'll notice, when you do get into the barter card, etc., they already have places where you can buy real estate with your equity credits. You can purchase, or there's contractors that can build houses for you. What they are saying, though, is that it doesn't look like the equity credits are going to be able to give you the ability to pay off your old loans. We're not really mixing this with the old banking system. I know that they are looking at the possibility of still being able to exchange equity credits for some cash. It's just that we're not able to commit to any, yes or no right now. It's still what they're working on. So, again, what I am giving you tonight is probably more than I should be giving you, but I feel like it's probably long overdue to know what's going on. And what will probably be happening in the near future is we'll be setting up a separate call just for the people that are part of the equity group here, because there is some information that being a part of the group, you can know a little bit more than if you weren't. Let's see here. I'm trying to think if there was anything else that was valuable here.
And how do you join the equity group?
Well, I am an agency owner, and Doug is an agent for we have an agency that represents this group. And Doug has a worksheet that's up on his site, and basically what you have to do first is you want to purchase the bankingisfraud.com CD, and then there's also a video, about a 45-minute video that's $24.95 plus shipping. And that's a requirement for our educational purposes to know the background of what this is and why we're doing it. And then on top of that, if you do want to know how much equity you have in any of the type loans that you've signed on, then the fee is $200 for the first loan. It's like a preparation fee. And then if you have the same lender that is, like if you have a Wells Fargo, that you have 2 loans with Wells Fargo, then the second loan that's a different account number is $100 if it's the same lender. Otherwise, it's $200 per lender or per account number, if that makes sense. And then so the fees will be the amount of the CD and the video, and then the $200 upfront fee per contract. And each contract will be the value of you'll get an equity certificate, which will be basically your spending power when we set up the barter system. And then there is going to be a percentage on the back end, which right now is 15% that the agency will keep as a part of their fee, 15% of the amount of your contract. And we still have a lot of the details we have to get worked out, so that's why we haven't been very committal on these numbers, is because we haven't been able to finalize anything without knowing for sure where we're going. So Doug has that posted on the equity contract.
Yeah, it's folder 35. Yeah.
I'm sorry, I couldn't quite hear that.
I think that might have been background noise.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, does anybody have any questions for Penny before she has to go?
How do we build more equity credit to have more purchasing power?
Well, at first, of course, it will be based on what you're doing is recovering equity in the past from the banks. However, just like these barter card systems, if you have goods and services that you want to sell within this system, then you put your shop up, on your business or your shop or your services into this barter system. I don't have a good word for that right now, but you put your goods and services up, and then people will be paying you in equity credits.
Oh, okay.
Would you recommend that we go ahead and join one of these?
No, because we're going to be one. I'm not going to say, no, you can't join, because that's certainly your privilege and right. And actually, like I said, we'll all be connected. But I think that you'll have more spending power if you stick with your using your equity credit based on the value of your loans. But I would never tell you not to join one of these. It might be a good experience for you.
Well, I just looked at the price. It's like $6.95 one-time fee.
Yeah, it is a little bit more spending. And they have, percentages that they charge. I think it's like 1 or 2% per, transaction. But then again, I'm not going to quote fees here because I really haven't studied that aspect a lot.
Mm-hmm. Henry, this is Suzanne in Montana.
Hi, Suzanne.
Hi. Given the new way that they're looking at going here, which I think sounds pretty exciting, can you process a note with the equity credit if there is still a balance on it, even though we know it won't pay it off?
Yes. If you see, in the past, we had a little fear of is we were creating contracts that we were sending to the banks. And in this process, right now, they are just looking at using the certificates as the value, as the collateral. So we're not even looking at the idea of sending these contracts to the banks to ruffle their feathers. And so you can then you can use a contract that's on your house now, because the reason I should back up, the reason why there was a little concern about doing it on a house that you own currently was because we'd found a case where they sent the contract in, and then the bank had called the note to be paid in full because they didn't like the terms of that contract, so it put them in a bit of jeopardy. This way, we're not sending any contracts to the bank. We're just claiming our equity certificates and creating our own system to have a line of credit with those certificates.
So it's based on the note still being deposited with that lender, and that being a valid deposit that someday we could claim.
And that's true. That's true. And what we're just doing is saying that we have a certificate to prove that we have that equity. Mm-hmm. And we're setting up our own financial system based on that proof.
Will the whole system be handled on the Internet?
Yes. That's going to be probably the major way that we can do business. But, there again, when you're doing business with other people and buying products and stuff, you're probably always going to have to talk with somebody over the phone, but at least you can view the products and services, and we anticipate that there will be operators that you'll be calling, and they'll be reviewing what your needs are, and they'll make suggestions of where to go and how much it'll cost and that kind of thing.
Penny, Suzanne again. This question might be a little premature, and if it is, just let me know.
Okay.
You mentioned something about not needing credit with banks in the future. So would that mean...
Well, I don't think it was needing credit. I think I said that this system could eliminate the need for credit because of the fact that there's no inflation created within this system. So therefore, a $140,000 house would only cost $60,000 with these credits, for example.
So this is the question I have, and like I say, maybe it's premature or maybe it's totally not even relevant. But so is there a way you can borrow off your credit to then turn it into, say, Federal Reserve notes?
Well, and that I'm not too sure about. I did see that they did have participations of mortgage companies that are giving out 0% loans, and my thought was that possibly they had the ability to give a loan with your paying them back with equity credits, but they could convert it into cash to pay off your note. Now, if that's true or not, I don't know, so I really don't want you to hold me to it, but I could see that being something feasible. But again, without knowing enough about the services, but if you look at that as possibilities, that we can create the possibilities within this structure of whoever is participating and what they can do with it. But what I do think they're still trying to do is work with other options to create cash so that people can get at least a portion back in cash, but they're not committing themselves to that right now. But or the other thing is that they're looking at the possibility of converting the equity credits into something like euro dollars or something like that. But that's going to take a little while too.
Penny, this is Jane.
Hi, Jane.
How are you?
Good.
I was wondering where to get that video you talked about. I was just at the site here. I don't see where there's a place to order that. Is that?
Let's see. It's not under the products area.
That's on the UFC.ca?
Yes.
No, I don't even see a spot that says products.
Okay. Let's see. Oh, I think, as I remember, and I know that site is not that well organized. I think I had clicked on Tim Madden, and then the information about the banking is fraud comes up, and I'm hoping they added the video onto that section.
I see it now, and it's when you bring up UFC.ca, on the left-hand side is a menu. It says About UFC, Tidbits, Equity Recovery. That's what you want to click on. And underneath there, it talks about our products. The second one listed is, the CD is listed, and then the video is listed.
Oh, click on Equity Recovery.
Equity Recovery.
Okay.
Right.
Okay, I didn't click on there. I see it now.
Okay.
Thank you.
Good
So
question.
I have the CD. I was looking for the video. Yeah.
Right.
Okay. And then when you say you were talking about I went to the bartercardusa.info, and it didn't come up, but maybe.
Oh, you know what?
It does.
barterusa.info, and then maybe add a backslash if it's not coming up.
No, it came up.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, there it is. Okay, thank you.
Penny, this is Joyce in New Mexico.
Hi.
Hi. Is there a time limit on getting these in, or is that going to be a cutoff?
No, not at all. I mean, you know, some people are just kind of wanting to see how it works, and that's certainly fine because a lot of people don't have, you know, $400 to put out on this. It's not going to go away. So it's just those that are first up get the first dibs to the cash, frankly. So it's just, you know, unfortunately that's the only way that they have to fairly divvy out any cash that they can convert. It'll go to the ones that were signed up first, but you still all will have the same ability to tap into goods and services of this bartering system. Thank you.
Okay. Well, we do need to get
on with Wade, huh?
Yeah, we need to get on with Wade. And I just want to cover this worksheet that I sent up. It's really an accounting exemption sort of flow chart. I wanted to visualize, because the picture's worth 1,000 words, I wanted to have you all to have something so that you could sort of visualize what's going on here with the Treasury, the Federal Reserve, and the bank. So if you need to look at that, it's in, I forget what folder I put it in, but I think I probably put it in I put it in the introduction folder. It's the first file now in the introduction folder. It's called Exemption Accounting, and a list of transactions 1 through 6. The first transaction is people deposit gold in 1933 with the United States Treasury. Number 2 transaction is the Federal Reserve buys U.S. securities and gets that money, and they're really controlling our money. The third transaction, the bank deposits your promissory note when you get a loan. The fourth transaction is the bank sells the promissory note to get the cash. The fifth transaction is the bank loans funds from the sale of the promissory note. And the sixth transaction is the loan payments that you make against that accounts receivable that they have on their books. And I know a lot of you are not familiar with accounting, but there's debit and credit entries in accounting. There's a left-hand side and a right-hand side to it, what they call a T-chart. Each of these boxes I've got here is basically a T-chart. There's a left-hand side and a right-hand side. On the left-hand side is, of course, the increase in assets, and on the right-hand side for liabilities, it's an increase. So depending on whether you're doing assets or liabilities, the way I envision it is like on there's 4 columns. The outside columns, if there's numbers that go in the outside columns, that's increase. And the 2 inside columns, when you're looking at this page, will be decreases. So, for instance, transaction 1, where I've got the U.S. Treasury asset, when we turned in our gold, I've got $1 million there listed for transaction 1. Well, when we turned in $1 million of gold and property, that $1 million is owed. It's a liability to the people. That's transaction 1 there in the 2 boxes on the top. I don't know, probably some of you don't have anything to look at, but you'll get this later on when you have the sheet and then listen to this on tape. Okay, the second transaction is the Federal Reserve gets that money. That's what the Federal Reserve does. They're controlling our money supply. So what basically happens is that those assets are transferred over to the Federal Reserve, but also the liability is also transferred. And that's one thing I want somebody that has the UCC, all these books on UCC, I want to find the site that shows when you buy an asset, it requires you to also take ownership of the liability. I know there's a reference to that somewhere in the UCC, and I know it has to be that way, otherwise you'd never know who to pay back once you get the asset returned. But I just don't know where that reference is in the UCC. But anyways, when you look at these transactions, the bank then gets the money from the Federal Reserve. Basically, the money comes from, I think, our exemption. I always had trouble figuring out where the money came from, because was it other investors that were, investing money? Because then they would be losing money if we didn't pay them back. But according to the way I've got it designed here on this flow chart here, you can see that I think it comes basically from it's a debit to that Federal Reserve liability to the people, and it's a credit to the Federal Reserve assets. So the banks actually get the credit from us, and that's why we're trying to focus now on the banks. We want to get them into a contract where they have to honor our request for the use of our exemption, because my question on the bottom of the page here says, it seems that banks implicitly use our exemptions to fund loans in transaction number 4. Then why should not the bank also credit our accounts when we explicitly authorize them to use our exemption in exchange for receipts of prepaid corporate goods and services via a bond or a bill of exchange, or a bonded bill of exchange? The bond number being, of course, the number on the back of your Social Security number card.
Hey, Doug?
Yes.
It just brought up an idea. I mean, I'm reading The Secrets of the Federal Reserve written by Eustace Mullins back in '52.
Yes.
And if you look at the Simeon Wade stuff, they talk about Congress debated this and said it represents a mortgage on all the people of the country.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, in essence, we should be able to foreclose on the government for not paying the mortgage back.
Whenever we actually make a claim, yes.
Yeah.
Right.
No, if they don't honor it, we simply foreclose. I mean, we need to see if there's an expedited process we can devise to do that.
Well, I think that's what we're going to talk about with Wade tonight is the way of liquidating people. When we do request that money and they don't give it back to us, then they're making use of our exemption. They're holding it without the right to do it. We gave them the right to hold it when we gave it to them in 1933, but then we can claim it back at any point in time. And that's partly what we're doing with using our exemptions to get credit for the goods and services we're taking, so we can discharge it dollar for dollar. So, but when you end up with this, at the end of the accounting here, when you make all the payments to pay back the accounts receivable, what you end up with is there's $100,000 cash in the bank, and there's still $100,000 bank liability to the depositor. So it shows our deposits are still there. The banks have the cash, the corresponding entry. There's always two entries. The debits or left-hand side has to match the right-hand side. So hopefully this will help you to kind of grasp a little bit the idea of what happens accounting-wise and how it's all related to the Treasury, the Federal Reserve, and to the banks. So just study this a little bit and get out your accounting books. And actually you can look at The Creature from Jekyll Island, and in chapter, I think it's chapter 8, the Mandrake Mechanism, talks about these, no, it's actually chapter 10. He actually has a flow chart sort of about the way the government debt's created and all the way down to the banks and down to the banks' deposits. Sort of, and also modern money mechanics also has same kind of flow charts or T charts that explain this too. So I think it would help if you understood a little bit of the accounting behind all this, and pass this by your accountant, see if he can make sense of it. Sometimes I give this stuff to accountants, they still don't understand what I'm talking about. So it's just a tool.
From what I understood, that when you create that promissory note, that the bank sells it for the value of the promissory note.
Right. That's in this chart here. It's the bank asset. The bank asset is $100,000, and it's the bank liability to you of $100,000. Right. They take that asset and decrease the bank asset by $100,000 because they sell it, and then they get the corresponding cash from the Federal Reserve. And so that's how it balances out.
Oh, here's another monkey I'm going to throw in there. I haven't found out the information or done the research on it yet, but I've talked to some guys here in Raleigh who say that they not only get the value of the promissory note, they sell it for 10 times the value of the promissory note.
Yes, that has to do with the Federal Reserve factoring. Yes, reserve fractional.
9 times.
Yeah, 9 times. Yeah.
But what they also do is they wind up depositing that promissory note more than one time with the Fed, so they actually get the amount of the note more than once directly from the Fed.
Oh no! What really?
Well, I've got one back here on a previous mortgage of mine that has 2 deposit stamps on the back, 2 different dates, 2 years apart. So they obviously deposited it twice, and they got the amount of the note twice.
Oh.
How did you get that note back, Louis?
Got rid of the mortgage.
And they actually gave you a note back. How about that?
Yep.
Does anybody know what that sputtering in the background is?
I'm not sure what that is.
Government monitoring everything.
We got too many people on there. They're watching us.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure they're aware of us. In fact, I got a cryptic email from somebody, and I guess we're going to try to find out who sent it to me.
I don't know what that beep is I hear every 5 seconds or so.
Oh, the beeping is people muting in and out.
Oh, okay.
Every time you hit 6 and you hit 6 again, it'll beep.
And people coming in, we left that option on so we know when people are joining.
Right. Yeah. You're talking about the cryptic email I forwarded?
Yeah, the inhabitant.
Yes. I found that one a little bizarre, but what I found even more bizarre was that about an hour after I got that email, he tried to join Freedom News Bank group.
Was it just the inhabitant, or was it the inhabitant upon the land?
That guy, yeah.
That guy?
That guy.
That's Ken. I can't think of his last name right off the top of my head. He's very active with We the People. Congress have met him. He works with Jerry Powers. They work, their primary thing is...
Well, find out his last name. I have a few words for him.
Okay. Yeah, I probably would have their phone number somewhere in the thicket of everything. So I can't imagine what he's up to. Is that note we discussed Saturday?
No.
Oh,
no,
different.
This is something that was in my email about 8:30 this morning.
He sent it to the Freedom News Bank moderator, and of course Lewis and I are moderators. So.
Well, but he also sent it to George.
Oh, true. Yep.
I mean, George was the one that had initiated it, and I have not heard back from George as to who this guy is.
I haven't either yet.
I think he lives in, like, the Winston-Salem, Greensboro area somewhere.
If it's the Ken I'm thinking of, he's definitely in the Baltimore area, Maryland.
Well, he says Chesapeake in the message. He says Chesapeake Bay area in the message, so that sounds like Baltimore.
He talks in stilted ways, that more archaic government way of talk. He would frustrate people, but he's often on at We the People at their legality of income tax. I haven't been there for a long time, but he contributes regularly to there. I'll look for the phone number.
Well, the email was more than a little bit slanderous.
Interesting.
I took exception to it.
Yeah.
And I still do.
Yeah, it's kind of threatening too.
Since it was aimed at Doug, he has even more exception to it.
And it really is a slam against our group too.
It was a slap against the group. It was a slap against honesty and truth and Christian living and a whole lot of things. And
wow, that's really interesting.
They did not appreciate it.
Last I heard, their whole group had broken up because of egos clashing. So I'll get a phone number.
I'd appreciate it.
Yeah, we have to be careful of people that are like that. We don't want to get any kind of controversy in our group because it'll just be an agitation, and we don't need that kind of stuff.
Exactly.
So we just have to protect ourselves as a group too. So all of you.
I'm agitating enough, y'all. The rest of you leave it off.
Yeah, right.
This is Ben. If you're taking that approach, why not just ignore the guy?
Oh yeah, I'm really not even going to respond to him.
Yeah, don't respond to it.
No.
I'm not going to respond to him. I just want to know who he is.
If it's the inhabitant, he's in North Carolina somewhere. I want to say he's up around Durham, north of Durham area, and he goes by Big Al.
Yeah, there was something about that in there. But I want to know how he can make such slanderous statements and not know anything at all about our group and then turn around a half an hour later and ask to join.
Well, that's the way the Illuminati works. Big Al has been in the Patriot. I get emails from him Mm-hmm. And so I don't know if it's inhabitants or inhabitants upon the land.
Just a second. I'll pull the email up.
I think it was inhabitant upon the land is what this one was about.
That's Ken.
Yeah.
My name's Al, and I resent his use of my name.
Yeah, right. We'll get him for copyright.
Well, I think it's almost blasphemous.
Yeah.
His message header is the inhabitant. He did not even bother to sign the email.
But you had Chesapeake for some reason. Yeah, he usually puts on the banks something.
He says, here on the banks of the Chop Tank, off the shores of the Chesapeake Bay, stands this inhabitant upon the land.
That's Ken.
Okay.
Well, I'm glad you know who he is, Rita. Just to beware then.
Yeah.
And we got to be careful not to mistakenly add someone like in that kind of a frame of mind. It's more of an attitude problem.
He sounds like he's got serious mental problems.
Mm-hmm.
I could see that.
Okay.
And they both, Jerry and Ken, poo-poo the redemption process.
Yeah. Well, so does a guy named Larry, who's an attorney. I won't say his last name, but
oh, I know who that would be.
Yeah, it's just terrible that these people can be so misrepresenting of
well, and
something.
then if they're connecting with groups like Lewis has informed me, the AWARE group, and ones that aren't quite as diligent, because I don't know enough about them to
right, if they've got
scans or anything, but they're just not.
Right.
They're jumping in too soon, it sounds like.
Yeah.
Without the necessary due diligence.
Mm-hmm.
That's a nice way of putting it.
Right, exactly. I don't know if Wade is on the line or not. I don't want to hold us up.
I hope he could get in.
Yeah, that's another problem. Oh, man.
Your alternate number, didn't you?
I didn't have my cell phone on. I should have it on.
I just got back in, so he should be able to get in.
Oh, good.
I got bumped off and called right back in, so it's okay.
Okay, great. Well, I hope he wasn't thinking it's an hour different than what I told him. I think it's 7 o'clock in that time zone in Arizona, right? It's Mountain Time.
Well, if he's in Arizona, he may be in Hawaii.
Last time I talked to him, he was still in Hawaii.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Oh.
Last I heard, he was in Hawaii, so I hope you didn't tell him 7 o'clock Hawaii time.
No, I did say.
He's going to be long gone to bed before he gets here.
No kidding. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
This is Mike in Raleigh, North Carolina. I'm sorry I didn't introduce myself.
Sure. Hi, Mike. Yeah.
Hi.
Welcome to the call.
Seems like a lot of these mortgage discharge companies are popping up all over the place now.
Yeah, there's one that Lewis and I talked to, and Ed knows about this past week.
There's one up in Chicago called cancelmortgage.com, and another one that popped up right here in Raleigh called, I think it's called eliminatemortgage.com.
Yes, we just...
the one we're talking about.
Right, that's...
Yep.
And there's quite a fee involved with that in the front, well, $1,500 on the front end, and I think 35% in the
back. Yeah.
35% in the back.
35%.
Mm-hmm.
Well, but fortunately, you don't have to come up with the 35% on the back end.
That's very true.
They get it for you.
Right.
Yeah, that's very true. So.
I mean, it doesn't get much better than that.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you consider.
It's quite interesting that they can get you 65% of the appraised value of your home back to you in your pocket.
I think it's worth it, Ned, and I'm still considering doing that as opposed to doing Droid.
Well, my paperwork's going in tomorrow, so I'll be happy to keep you all informed.
Well, that's terrific.
Through this one in Raleigh here?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think they say 60 days, and you'd have your check or something like that.
That's what Reed said the other night on the phone call.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
and they're 55-0.
So you know Bernard.
Wow.
Bernard?
You know Bernard?
Don't know that name.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there's a Bernard up there.
about Chris. Do you know his name?
Yeah, I think Chris is involved, and Dave is involved.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's who I was talking to this past weekend.
Good.
About the promissory note and everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Dave is the one who told me about this free conference call on.
Yeah.
So
I talk to Dave all the time.
yeah, he's a good guy. So
Somebody said they were 55 and 0.
Yes.
Yeah. They've done 55 mortgages since January.
now is this the
Is there
group?
any way to verify that, though?
Not currently, no.
Recording started.
Is this the group, Ed, in the group of attorneys in Atlanta that did this, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, my understanding is this all started about, well, not all started, but about 8-10 months ago, there was a big announcement from a group of attorneys that said they had gathered an attorney in all 50 states, and they were going out to take on the banks and the mortgage companies and cancel mortgages.
Wow.
And it got a lot of press, I mean, considerably,
Yeah.
you know, that these lawyers were doing this.
Yeah.
And a lot of them have sprung up to do the same. I mean, you got a $100,000 mortgage, and you're getting 35% of it, or $100,000 property. Needless to say, you don't have to do a whole lot of them, and you've made a very nice chunk of change.
Right.
Yeah,
According to Reed, they're doing 5 a day. They're up to 5 a day. In processing the paperwork.
They have an attorney they work with that does the titling and everything.
Mm-hmm.
They have several attorneys. There's a title company involved. And they have the two pieces of it. They, you know, take care of they get the mortgage canceled for fraud, and then they file a claim, prejudicial claim to start with. And if the mortgage company won't pony up for the claim, then they file.
All right.
But evidently, for the most part, they're not having to file.
Can you give us any information how to get in contact with these people?